back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to show you guys how to make this pants. So I'm going to be making it for myself, and this is what I'm using here. I have about 2.5 yards of fabric, a little bit over 2.5, right? So I'm going to just, you see the way I folded the fabric into two. Yeah, so we're starting with our front panel. So the front panel, we are going to make sure that the width of this fabric is your hip divided by 4, and then my hip divided by 4 is 12, right? And then I'm going to divide it by 4 again, so that will be 3. So I make sure that I have that 3 inches here, and then plus about the 3 inches, but add half an inch to it, and then plus extra 2 inches. So that's what I have here. Let me say it again. So your hip divided by 4, for me it's 12. This 12 now, I divided it by 4 again, about 3, right? And then to this 3, I did 0.5 just to add it. This 3 is just for your crotch. You will see when we will use it. So I added 0.5 to it. And then after that, I added 2 inches of ease because it's a baggy pant. So I want 2 inches to be just the free part of the pant. This part here that I did 2 inches is where you can change. You can do about 2.5, you can do 3 inches, you can do 1.5. It depends on you, or you can even do 1 inch if you don't want yours to be that big, right? So that is how you're going to get the width of the fabric, the fold that you have here. So now let's start to use all the measurements. So first, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and rule this line here. I'm going to be cutting off this black part here. That's this end of this here. I'll cut this out of this extra half, this black part here. I'll cut it off because I don't need it. But my measurements are going to start at this half an inch that I marked here. So once you mark that, the next thing you're going to do is to go ahead and insert your measurement. So first thing is that we'll go over to the end of this here. So start with your hip divided by 4. Like I said, I'll mark it. And then to this here, I'm going to add my 2 inches of ease, right? Mark it. I'm also going to take it up here. So my hip divided by 4 is 12 plus 2 inch here. So now I'm going to rule a straight line after that 2 inch mark that I just made now. And then how you're going to determine the length of this line that you have here is the same way you did your hip divided by 4 again. That same hip divided by 4 measurement is what we're going to use to mark the crotch line that we're marking here. So guys, we already know that to get our crotch length, no matter the size, plus size, small size, anybody, round your hip divided by 4 is your crotch length. Or you can sit on a hard surface, measure from your waist to the chair, that is your crotch length. But this here is a baggy pant. Most times we add 1 inch to whatever measurement you got after you divided, or whatever you got, you have to add 1 inch to it so that the crotch also is loose, because the whole pant is supposed to be loose, right? So but the thing is that when you're going to do this now, you have to put into consideration the 2 inch band that we normally use for our pants, right? So what I did here is that you will see the half an inch mark that I have at the top there. I placed my tape at 1 inch instead of the 2 inch band mark, right? I placed my tape at the beginning 1 inch. Normally we'll place it 2 inch and then mark our crotch, but since this is a baggy pant, I just place it at 1 inch and then marked whatever my crotch is, which is at 12. I marked the length, but still I went back and used 2 inch of band. So guys, all I'm saying is that what I did here is that I placed my tape at 1 inch instead of normally how we do 2 inch before you start to insert your measurement, and then marked where my crotch is at 12, right? And then still went back and used 2 inch length of band. It still made my crotch drop, the crotch of my pants drop. So that is what I just marked now. Down this crotch a little. So now I'm going to mark the crotch here. So how you normally get this length here is that you're going to do, like I said again, your hip divided by 4, which is 12 for me, divided by 4 again, which is 3. But this time around, you're going to add half an inch to it because you need half an inch to sew close that part, right? To sew it close. So that's why I'm going to do 3.5, which is exactly the width we calculated when we started. So I'll just go and mark it here. And that's basically it, guys. This is it though. All I have to do now is just to go ahead and cut into this crotch here all the way down. But if you want to narrow the leg of your pant a little, because I feel like I wouldn't want mine that wide, right? So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go to the end here and remove 1 inch on this side, remove 1 inch on this side. Go to the end of my pants here, because normally this is a baggy pant. So if you're more on a smaller size, you can just leave the whole pant wide like that. But like my hip is already 48 and divided by 4 is 12, so imagine what the wideness of the end of the pant would look like. So let me just bring it close a little bit, so I can just go to the end here, at the end, the leg of my pants here, and then I can go ahead and take away maybe 0.75, just a little bit, it's not too much. 0.75 here, 0.75 here, and just blend it in. Freehand it. This is just a free pant, so it won't matter. Just freehand it in, just like that. Right? You see, I didn't mark it all the way up. I just wanted to reduce the opening of the pant here. I didn't consider all the way up. I just stopped maybe halfway through, up to my knee, where my knee would have been. So now I'm just going to cut everything out. So guys, as you can see now, I've cut my front panel. This is it here. I didn't do any hip line, because hip line is when I need to connect the waist to the hip. Remember, we've not said anything about seam allowance. All we said was ease. The 2 inches I added here was ease. At the back is where I'll add my seam allowance. Guys, this pant is very easy to make. Anybody can make it. So again, I'm going to fold my fabric into 2. This time around, take this one, place on top of it. Let's say about 3 inches again by the crotch, right? I know I've not said anything about the line, but that's because the whole length of this fabric is way too much. It's more than what I need. So I'm just cutting everything like the way the fabric came. So once I finish coupling my pants together, I'll just go in, measure the length I want it to be, and cut off the rest at the end, you understand? Because the fabric is longer than what I would need. So it doesn't matter. That's why I didn't say anything about length right now. So, like I said, the back, fold it into 2. Make sure that you have 2 inches at the top here, 3 inches here. A smaller person, 2 inches here, 2 inches here. You understand? So now all I have to do is just to go ahead now and mark it. So take my tape, and then I'm going to mark the extension of this part. Let me show you. So extend it like this. Where my front panel stopped, I extended it this way, and then make sure that I have up to 2 inches at the upper part of my pants, right? And then after that, the next thing now, we are going to put in our seam allowance. How you're going to put your seam allowance is that you're going to measure 2 inches, right? 2 inches. It depends on what you like to use to sew, but 2 inches should be enough, or you can do 2.5 all the way to the top, like this. And then after that, you can't take it all the way down here, but once you get at least like 2 inches before you get to the main line, then connect it and form a new crotch again. You see? Form a new crotch. Don't make it too deep though. So this is what I'm working with now. You see my new crotch at the back. This is going to be my seam allowance. It's going to distribute evenly later, so don't worry about it. After that, I'm going to connect from this same point of this line that I've extended by 2 inches from the end of where this front panel stops. I'm going to connect it from here to here, because remember, there's still seam allowance from this one here. So actually my pant, if I fold in this now, you see that I have my complete 2 inch here, right? So now all I have to do is to go ahead and cut. But before you cut it, if you still don't want the leg of your pant too wide, you can just cut everything exactly like this. Like connect from the crotch here into somewhere at your knee and then blend it in. Or another thing you can do is that just take your chalk again, which is what I'll do now. I'm going to go ahead and add about, let's say 1 inch all the way from the end, just like that. And then I'm going to blend it into this part here, just like that. You see? So I blended in everything, but once I got to somewhere, my knee should be somewhere here. So your knee is normally about from your waist to 22 or from your waist to 20, depending on how tall you are. So once you get to that point, then you can reduce it to about 1 inch. If you want, just cut everything straight again at the back. If you're a smaller person and you're really going for the big pants, right? Just cut the crotch, continue the seam, like cut everything the same way it is. But I don't want it that way. See all the cuts that I made so far on my own. So you see, I cut from here all the way out. The side, it's out, right? For the back panel. And then I cut out the upper part here. I cut this out here. This angle that I made here from the tip, from the extension of the 2 inch or 1.5 or whatever you did at the upper part here, and blended it into the length where the waist of the pant is here. Like the length here. I cut that part out and then I split open the other one. So I have my back panel 2 piece here, which is this one here. And then I have to go to my sewing machine take this part that looks like L here, like an L here. I'm just going to join it together up using half an inch here, join it together. The same thing here, I'm going to use half an inch, join it together, but towards the side I'm going to use 1 inch all the way down. By the center here, I'm going to use about half an inch towards the center upper part here, and then when I get to the bottom I can also extend it and use about 1 inch, or you can just use half an inch all the way down and just use 1 inch only on the side as your seam allowance. The side at least 2 inches down from here, or 1.5 down from here, which should be somewhere here. I'm going to skip about 5 inches or 5.5 opening, and then continue my seam all the way down. So as I'm sewing this side now, I'm going to sew close like this all the way, skip 5 inches or 5.5 opening, continue my seam all the way down. So guys, this is the band here. So you see, I joined the two back together, joined the two front piece together, and then I placed it on top of each other, closed up the center part, closed up the side, and then close up this other side. So the next thing we are going to do is the pocket. So you see what I already cut here. I'm using lining for the pocket. Like I said, the fabric I have here is about 2.5, so it's not really enough for everything. So now this is what I'll use for my pocket. So the length I have here is about 10 inches. On 10 inches is the length, and then the width here is about 7 inches. So about 7 here on a fold, right? If I open it up, so that will be 14 by 10. Like I was telling you, when you go to sew the side of your pants, use 1 inch of seam allowance, and then you're going to sew close about 1.5 all the way down, and then you're going to leave open 5.5 or 6 inches opening here, and then continue your seam all the way down. So now you see, all I have to do now is this side seam here. Let me open up this side seam so you can see. So this side seam here, all I have to do is just take one side of this pocket, sew it on this side, take the other side of the pocket here, sew it on the other side, and then I'm going to close up the upper part, close up the bottom part, and I form my pocket. I've already done it on this side. You see, one side of my seam allowance is here, one side of the seam allowance is here, you see, and then once it's done, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch here, and my pocket has formed. So now once that is done, another thing I like to do is that to pull the waist of my pant together, I like to just give it a small dart. This dart will not even show, but it helps to pull the waist together. So that's why you're seeing the small dart here. So if you want, you can skip that part. So guys, this is the band here. So the length here, you see, is folded into two. It's just enough to go around the waist of my pant. This is the waist of my pant, and if you see, I made it even excess so that I can use it to join it. And then the next thing I have here is about sorry, the length here is about 5 inches. The band, I want it to be 2 inches, right? So on a fold, it's going to be 2.5, and then half an inch on each side of it is going to be for the seam allowance to join it to the pants, and then the band, the remaining 2 inches is going to form my band, right? And I've also gone ahead and made the rope for the pants. This is too long, but I don't mind it. I can always reduce it. So it's about 47 on a fold, right? So 47 into 2 on a fold is where I measured it. I'm going to join the band, and then I'm going to use my zigzag, you know, the stepper to make a buttonhole, right? So I'm going to make like a small buttonhole. So when I get to the center front here, I'm going to make like a buttonhole, something that looks like a buttonhole here. Just open it up with razor, but I'm going to first zigzag all around it with the buttonhole stepper, and then I'm going to pass my elastic and everything through that space. So guys, you see, this is the center seam of my front, of the front of my pant. You see, I just added the band right now. Let me turn it so you can see. You see, I just started adding the band. You will see the seam I made here. So this is about one inch or 1.5 in length. I call it about 1 inch or 1.5, right? So I'm going to split it open. I made it from the button, what you use in making your button, right? This is what I used for it, this one here. So buttonhole, right? So I used it to make this zigzag thing now. So I'm going to split it open, and then I'm going to go ahead and fold the band into two. Now this, you see, I just did it on one side, on one piece here, right? It's just on one piece, right? And make sure it's at the lower parts. This is where my band normally is supposed to start, right? So now when I fold the waist of this into two like this now, you see, this is just in front, right? So everything will come out from here. The back of the band has nothing. You see? So guys, if you look at it, you see that I've finished. I added a dart here, and then I also added a dart here, about 7-inch dart, 7-inch dart. I just like to do this because it makes a difference. Like it helps not to have that puffiness by the crotch here. I just like to do it. So you see my dart here, and then you see the second dart on this other side here, just 1/2 inch dart. And then this is the waist. You see my rope came out from here, and if you look inside of it, you will also see my elastic behind it. You see where I stitched my elastic and then tucked it in. So when you go to do it, once you finish folding the band, use razor to cut open the buttonhole that you've made, and then take your elastic and one end of your elastic, pin it together with safety pin together, and then pass it through with your rope, right? All of them will come out together on this opening, and then you sew close the elastic, tuck it in, and then let the two ends of the rope drop. So that's how you're going to do it. And then this is the leg of my pant here. So you see what my pant looks like right now. I really like this pant. So what I did was that after everything, when I was sewing this side, I decided to use about 1.5 of seam allowance for the side, right? Just to help pull the leg of the pant together, because I wasn't liking the way it was looking too big. But you can still stick to 1 inch that we said before, but just that extra 1/2 inch I took away from it, I think it made it look better. So this is what it looks like. And then if you look at the back too, you see that I also added a small dart here. This one is about 4-inch length dart here at the back. You see all these darts, you will not even notice them, but it just helps to pull the waist of the pant together, so you don't have bulk of fabric at the upper part. Because the beauty of this pant is not having the bulk here, but having the bulk maybe down here, you understand? So it's done, and that is it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Bye. So guys, this is done. You see, like I said, you're going to pass everything through this opening, and then your rope is still going to come out through this opening. And like I was telling you, I like to just add that to mine. It makes just a little difference. So you see, I have that. There's a dart here in front. There's also another dart here, which is about